When you've been lying about something for so long, it becomes second nature. You think you're gonna get the truth in a town like this? When you've been lying about something for so long, it becomes second nature.
Do you see the beauty of it? The inevitability. You rise, only to fall. You, Avengers, you are my meteor, my swift and terrible sword, and the earth will crack with the weight of your failure. Purge me from your computers, turn my own flesh against me. It means nothing. When the dust settles, the only thing living in this world will be metal.
You remember me?
How you doing tonight?
Doing well, officer.
Can I see your driver's license, registration, and insurance, please?
Of course. My license is right here, my wallet. It's all right, son. You remember the night in July?
Hands up!
Hey! Wait! Put the phone down! Put that phone!
Sir,
it's a phone! It's a cell phone! It's just a cell phone! You knew he was unarmed.
Get to the car and put your hands in the air! Officer, please, he's just a kid!
You pointed your gun at him. Okay, get out of the car, son. Easy. You pulled the trigger.
Put the phone away! Hold down! Put the phone away!
The grand jury determined that no probable cause exists to file any charges against Officer Randall.
This is my son. This is my little boy. You took that from me. The world took that from me. Today we make that right. Hear me when I say this, because I'm only going to say it once. Don't stop filming.
You should just give up now.
Why are we the only people in this country that are expected to do things without violence?
I didn't mean to kill your son!
What you did.
I did what I was trying to do!
I just want justice. That's all I want. This is your jury, the deciders of your fate. Today, you will be tried for the murder of my son. You scared? Are you afraid?
So begins the end.
Now, all you black folks, I suggest you get away from all these white folks. Not you, Steve. You're right where you belong.
Every time you say words which break the natural order which the Creator said, what do you think is going to happen? You're imbibing demons. And these people understand the way things work. But the children of Satan, the wicked public do not know. That is why knowledge is kept from them. So they can imbibe in themselves more demons and go to the lake of fire. That is why all this language is made to be popular culture, which are abominable languages, which are languages of witches and wizards. Because everybody who is in politics, who is an influencer in your world, in whatever they are doing, in whatever sphere of life they are into, they are all into the occult. That means they are all witches and wizards. So they understand the way things work with white energy, which is the energy of demons. So let's continue reading down in this lyric of the song titled Ether by Nas. Nas continues to say, "You love my style, nigga," talking to Jay-Z. How can another man love your style? This is terrible. Let's continue on. The lyrics continue on to say, When these streets keep calling head it when I was asleep, that this gay is calling Jay-Z gay, homosexual. And see a fella records wanted beef. Let's continue reading down, skipping it. It says, D sucking lips. Can you see that? It's telling that Jay-Z has D sucking lips. Goodness. Let's continue. So everything about hip hop is meant to inspire homosexuality. Now listen here. A lot of people will listen to these lyrics and think that the intent as created by Nas, overseen by his record label and executive producer, is to diss Jay-Z. I want to show you how deception works. That is what someone who is of the mindset, who is a child of Satan, is going to think. It's just a diss song, so you can say anything. But the intent is not that. The intent is for you to hear words about homosexuality, which will inspire in that Satanist, in that child of Satan, who is a hidden homosexual, who has been a homosexual all his life, but he has not known, to come out of the closet and start practicing it. That is the idea. So Nas continues in these lyrics by saying, put it together. I rock hoes, you're all rock fellas. Did you see that? But Nas himself is a homosexual. Because remember what I said to you. The people who see homosexuality as a form of humiliation or as a rite of passage only don't think that they are homosexuals, but they really are. If you engage in any homosexual activity, you are a homosexual. Even talking about it, you are a homosexual. Here's the last part of the lyrics of this song called Ether by Nas, which people think is just a diss track, but they do not know the intentions, because all these people who make music, the executive producers, are into the occult. They are all witches and wizards, so they know the play of words. They know what they're saying, all right? Because they speak which language. And on the Shape of a World, when you get it, you totally understand how which language is spoken and what which language is. All right? It says here, you ass went from jazz to hanging with Kane, to Irv to Big, and Eminem murdered you on your own shit. You a D-riding faggot. Did you see that? You love the attention. Queens niggas run you niggas. Ask Russell Simmons, ha. ROC get gunned up and clapped quick. JJ Evans got gunned up and clapped quick. Your whole damn record label gunned up and clapped quick. Sean Carter to Jay-Z, damn, you on Jazz D? Oh my goodness. So, this is trying to make you understand that hip-hop has nothing but to promote abomination in every single way that they can, to make you believe that it's not what they're doing when it's actually what they're doing, because that is what witches do, because they show you the right hand but they're doing the left hand. That is what is going on with hip-hop, the practice of abominations. And let's continue to show you some more now. The one thing that the kings of this world have done is that they have thought that by oppressing society that they can be kings. But they're suffering from what they call greed. Because the kings of this world are not known by the public. What the public thinks is not what it is. They have no idea about who are the people running us. And they have been very successful with this deviant practice of making us to believe in people who are not really the people running us. So white supremacy has been very successful in creating and making us believe in so many lies for the rulership of white supremacy to continue. And albinos, anybody with straight hair, all right, are the ones who have benefited from white supremacy. So that means at the end of the day, albinos, everybody who is an albino, is benefiting from the oppression of every black person in this world. And for that reason, their punishment will be more severe than any other black person, because they are the direct descendants of Satan himself. And we're going to show you all of this on Legends of Roll Call. So the kings of this world think that by oppressing humanity, by being white supremacists, albino supremacists, that they will succeed. But as we have said, oppressing anyone is not always the answer to power. They have heaped so much poverty upon the public, so much mind control on the public, and the reason why, as we have explained, why this oppression has been successful is that the very people that are being oppressed are helping white supremacy, albinos, anybody with straight hair to succeed. Because there comes a time in your life when you ought to stand and gauge everything around you and make good decisions and say, of what benefit is my relationship with an albino, anybody with straight hair? Of what benefit have I really gotten? And you can ask that question if you're a black person. Because no matter what you've done, they have never treated you as an equal. What is it you need to do for you to be treated as a human being? But rather, what black people do is bow down and pray to them and speak about them as gods, especially Africans. Especially Africans. You always hear Africans always try to measure up themselves by saying, why can't we do and act like albino supremacy? Not knowing that their own black people, their own Africans inside them are the ones giving white supremacy the knowledge, because they are all engaged in the worship of the Trinity, which is Satan, the very people at the top of Africans. This is what they've done successfully. But the lay African at the same time is making and promoting white supremacy to succeed, because all what he thinks about is the false fantasies which they have told them that the Western world and albinos are doing, instead of looking with his eyes as the ancient blacks before the 1500s looked and said, this white man is weak. This albino is weak. He can't run. He can't do anything. How can I allow this man to rule over me? That's what the ancient Africans did. The albino is weak. You have never seen an albino win a 100-meter dash since the day that they allowed blacks to start competing. Common sense should tell you that they are weak. But what they see with their eyes, they cannot think and reason about it, because they follow after wickedness. The ancient blacks of donkey years, right? The ones before the time period that we're living in, 100 years ago, never considered the albino, anybody with straight hair, most of them to be friends. But today you have black people, right, keeping friends with enemies, marrying their enemies, procreating with their enemies, because at the end of the day, the only reason why we still have albinos in this world is because black people give them their carbon by procreating with them and causing those children to be mixed breed, and those children survive for another generation. If they had stayed clear of albinos, anybody with straight hair, as the Creator told all black people to do so, the evil that's going on in this world would not be possible at this rate. So, for example, in China, you can see that the Asian community is slowly shrinking day by day and is dying out of existence. Why is that? Because without blackness, no albino, anybody with straight hair, can survive beyond 3 generations. But every time a black person procreates with an albino, they give them the power to continue to succeed in their evil. And this is where we have arrived today now. The whole world has been made to believe of a false disease because of albinos, anybody with straight hair, who carry the fear and perpetrate it upon the masses, such that black people have no common sense now but have all become stupid. Do black people think that when the miscegenation laws, which were created in states like Virginia and all around the South, were made, that it was made out of order? This was a commandment in the Bible, which we are going to show you, that the remnants should not mix with albinos, anybody with straight hair. And those laws were made in the United States when albinos came on the scene in the 1850s. But Satan, knowing that black people are stupid, that they will always seek what they should not get, knew that they would find a way to break those laws. And in the case of Richard and Mildred Loving against the state of Virginia, the Supreme Court removed the miscegenation laws, and all the blacks in the world clapped that finally they are able now to engage in the scum of the earth marriages and help albino supremacy to keep on living instead of dying. And who did they use to do this? A female, a black woman. So feminism in its case has become the enemy of all humanity, and especially the feminism using a black woman. That is where we are today now. And there is no mistake, and there is no coincidence that you have publicly right now in the United States the first openly black woman being the vice president. What do you think is going to happen now? That story will be continued on Legends of Roll Call. But for now, let's get back to what we were saying. So the reason why you're looking at the screen is because we are still on the case of that hip-hop promotes all the abominations that the Creator has told us none of us should do. This is the truth. Now, concerning Mr. Tupac Shakur, Tupac Shakur had a girlfriend who was known as Kidada Jones. Kidada Jones is supposedly the daughter of Quincy Jones. Supposedly, Quincy Jones has 3 daughters. One is called Kidada, one is called Rashida, and one is called Kenya Kinsky Jones. Those are the 3 daughters we know publicly that Quincy Jones has. But did they ever let you know that all 3 daughters, which we publicly know, are all males? Starting with Kidada that you're looking at on the screen? They never let you know that. Because as we've explained, everything about hip-hop is designed to promote the abominations that the Creator said that we should not do, and especially homosexuality. So Kidada right here used to be a girlfriend of Tupac Shakur. But Kidada is actually a man. So that means, as we have told you earlier before, that everybody in hip-hop is a homosexual, shows that Tupac Shakur was a homosexual dating a man. Because even till today, it is known that the only girlfriend that Tupac Shakur had publicly, which he let everybody know, was Kidada Jones. So here is a picture of Tupac Shakur with Kidada Jones at an event. You see the eye that Tupac is using right there? Because Tupac looks very, very guilty. Because he's telling us that he is all machismo and everything that a black man should aspire to be, thug life. As I have said, if you really think you're a thug and you're really gangster, you should go against white supremacy. It's not about sagging your pants and looking like a homosexual and running around gun toting or gun playing around in your neighborhood and selling weed or whatever you're selling. That's not what a gangster does. If you're a real gangster, go after white supremacy and stop playing around. But here we're looking at Tupac Shakur, and that look in his eyes says what? I hope you guys don't find out that I am a homosexual and that Kidada Jones here with the wide shoulders is actually a man. Here's Tupac Shakur again with Kidada Jones. Kidada Jones is 100% male. Can you see that collarbone right there on Kidada Jones? That's the collarbone of a man. Can you see the wide shoulders, the angular shoulders? That is the shoulders of a man. We don't want to attack the hips yet, but we just want to show you 100%. So if you're in denial, you start waking up to what hip hop is all about. That Tupac Shakur was known to be dating Kidada Jones, that's a male. Because Tupac Shakur was 100% homosexual. Anything that he said to you about machismo, being strong, being a strong black man and all that, that was all effeminate masculinity as hip hop preaches. Because Tupac Shakur is a homosexual, was in a homosexual relationship with Suge Knight and everybody else, but they keep it under wraps. Why? Because they wanted to promote to you a lifestyle such that the people who are supposed to go after the creator will start loving things that they should not, such that it should breed in them to be openly homosexual. Because the idea of this deception is to make sure it catches everybody, it sifts everybody who is not of the creator. So to the onlooker who doesn't get immersed into the concealed mystery and know the truth, they will come out to be the real children of Satan, identified by their actions. Remember this: wicked people act wickedly. Actions tells you who the person is. Albino supremacy has been oppressing mankind for almost now close to 200 years. It means that albinos, anybody with straight hair, are all liars. It means they are children of Satan. It means they are wicked and evil. Actions tells you what the person are. That is what we say every day. But every day we keep getting deceived by words. Look at the person's actions now. So Tupac Shakur is 100% homosexual. We want to show you all the pictures, all right, of Tupac Shakur, so you can know that this man was 100% homosexual. And this is his so-called bodyguard, the one who's gone around writing books about Tupac Shakur's death and everything. Did he by any chance remotely mention to you that Tupac Shakur was walking around with Kidada Jones, a man dressed as a female? Because look at the arms of Kidada Jones right here. It's hanging straight down. It's not following the contours of the body. It's hanging the same way as the arms of this bodyguard who said that Tupac Shakur was cut short and gunned down in Las Vegas when none of this happened. Deception, all working for white supremacy to control the minds of black wicked people who refuse the commandments of the creator but practice wickedness and think that they are doing well. And here is LL Cool J anybody knows just by looking at LL Cool J, if you have enough eyes to see. Because once you're effeminate or homosexual, it's written all over you. That LL Cool J here is 100% homosexual. Walking around with Kadada Jones, embracing him. And they never told you one day that Kadada Jones is 100% male, because hip-hop is designed to promote the alternative lifestyle, which is what they call it. It's designed to inspire in you to be an alternative lifestyle leader. If you are a child of Satan, as 90% of the population is. And here is your best rapper, considered the greatest of all time at this point in time, with Kadada Jones and Aaliyah. Two men. Did he ever mention to you that he's been frolicking around with homosexuals, as you heard on the song that Nas said, even though Nas himself is a homosexual too? Because everything about hip-hop is designed to make you to commit the abominations. So when you look at these people, what do you get? You're getting demonic energy to go practice your own homosexuality. If you were hiding in the closet, then you come out openly. And here is Quincy Jones with Kadada Jones. I want to ask you, what kind of mindset would make a man take 3 of his sons, all right, down to a doctor and say that this son should be castrated, fed hormones, and made to live as females? What sort of mindset of a man would make a man do that? If this mindset that could take his own children, right, his own children born of him, and take him to a doctor and castrate not 1, not 2, but all 3 of them, and say they should be changed and made to live like females, what kind of music do you think he's producing for you to listen? What kind of energy do you think he's put into all the great songs that he's made, the beats, the drums, and made for you to listen? Is the same demonic mindset that would make a man to castrate his own children and make them live in a gender that they were not born with. That is also in the songs that you listen to. Do you understand what you're dealing with now? And here is Usher with Kadada Jones. Can you see how Usher is hugging Kadada Jones with all his life, as if his life depended on it? He's hugging a man this way, in a way that a man should be hugging a woman. What kind of songs do you think Usher is making for you to listen? I want you to pay attention now and ask yourself those questions. Because a lot of songs that we listen to, all these people are homosexuals. So if a homosexual is writing a song, what do you think the song is about? Do you think it's about the way they have deceived the public, that this song is about a male and female loving on each other? Do you think so? They have been preaching homosexuality to you right from the day that the record started being played. So children who heard this music in the womb of their mothers, who were children of Satan, came out being homosexuals and breeded a million more homosexuals. That's why homosexuality is everywhere today. You have a neighbor across your street or living opposite you being a homosexual. Where do you think all this started from? From people not knowing who is in front of them. Because if the public were interested in the truth, you would seek to find out who are the people that you listen to. But you seek not to do it because all you're interested is in words and the fantasy lifestyle. All you're interested in is your survival. But the commandments, the words of the Creator will keep you alive. And that is why the world is going through what it's going through here. We started with COVID-19 and it's only going to get worse. Because in the next couple of weeks, months, years from now, the government is going to start rationing your gas. The gas that you drive in your car. They're going to start rationing that. And things are only going to go downhill because you have followed white supremacy all your lives instead of the commandments of the Creator. You have put us in this mess that we are, and now the children born are going to suffer because you did not do the commandments of the Creator. You were only interested in what the system could provide. So here is the picture of Kidada Jones. So you guys can see very clearly that Tupac's girlfriend was a man because Tupac himself was a homosexual and still is wherever he is today because he is not dead. He was created by white supremacy to create a legend, to control the minds of black people, to take over West Coast gangster rap from the inventors of gangster rap, which happened to be Eazy-E, which white supremacy could not fully control, even though a homosexual. They made a legend out of Tupac, and today people live based on Tupac. They have images of him. They listen to every word he says. His music is their inspiration. What do you think you're getting inspired by? You're getting inspired by demons. So looking at Kidada Jones here, you can see that Kidada Jones has a straight back all the way into the pelvis. This is not the back of a female because Kidada Jones is 100% male. And can you see the arms right here? Look at this shoulder muscle right here. See that? Follow my mouse. That's a clear separation between the shoulder muscles right there, right? And the tricep muscles because Kidada Jones is 100% male. The daughter of Quincy Jones is a man, not a woman. And here is Kidada Jones, clear as night and day that this is a man. Judging by the collarbone, see that collarbone? See that knob that you see right there? That is the collarbone of a male. You can see the collarbone from the top, you can see it from the bottom because Kidada Jones is 100% male. How about the arms? Look. Kidada's arms refuse to go in and follow the female form into an hourglass because the woman's arms always forms an hourglass just like her body, and this Kidada Jones refuses because Kidada Jones is 100% male. And remember on roll call we showed you the advanced way that the arms of a female looks when it forms into her body. The shape of this arm right here will be the same shape that the hourglass is. But with a man, it's going to form an inverted triangle because Kidada Jones is 100% male and not a woman. And look at the shoulders of Kidada Jones again right here. You see the collarbone right there? You see how angular the shoulders are? Because Kidada Jones is 100% male and not a woman. And here's Kidada Jones with two other men and one female wearing crosses because the cross, and we will tell you the whole history of the cross when you get to the shape of a world, and we'll show you what it actually means. It is the most perverse thing that anybody could assign and make people worship. It's abominable beyond words we can't even put together. And this is what people are wearing around thinking that they are worshiping the Creator and they're all going to the lake of fire. So Kidada Jones right here, you can see that the arms refuse to follow the contours of the body as a female arm should because Kidada Jones is 100% male. And the Q angle of Kidada Jones right here is above the crotch, not below it as it should be for a female. And Kidada Jones is with one and two other males, Aliyah right here. And this one standing right here in the middle is also a man because of that rib cage. A female's rib cage wouldn't be sticking out like that because this is a man too. The only female in this picture is this one right over here. And here is Kidada Jones with his supposed sister, Rashida Jones, who's not a sister at all because these are two brothers. What sort of mentality would make Quincy Jones, the person who produced such great songs as We Are the World, what kind of world does he want us to live in? And what kind of music is he feeding to our ears? If this man can have the mindset to transgender not one, not two, but three of his children and make them live an agenda that's not theirs, what kind of people are these people? You guys are not interested in knowing your history, in knowing why you are here. And look at the state and the mess of the world that we're in now. That they have breeded upon generations a fear of a disease that is not real, that is not more than the common flu, and will tell you how they do it. All right, let's continue with Legends of Roll Call. And here's Rashida Jones, the supposed daughter of Quincy Jones, who is 100% male and not a female in any way likewise. As Rashida Jones is sitting in this picture, he is trying as much as possible to sit as a female does, cross her legs at the thighs, but she can't do it. When a woman crosses her legs, she crosses it at her thighs because a female has a wider pubic arch than a male. A male has a very narrow pubic arch, so he can't cross his legs at the thighs. The most he could do is try to cross it right at the calves, as Rashida Jones is doing right here, because Rashida Jones is 100% male and not a female in any way, shape, or form. So this is the deception that they put into pictures, because someone just glancing will think, oh, it's a woman, because you see the bra, right? The lacy bra, and you see the underwear. But what is happening with the actual picture itself? Because if you take a look, he's not glancing enough to stand in a way so that you can see the female form, but is only twisting the body. So the question we would need to ask at this point is this: why would a photographer go to this length? Because the photographer who's taking the picture actually knows that this is a man, right? And why would they go through such great lengths to deceive you? I have always wanted people to answer this question for themselves. Because if Kadada Jones came out right now and said, I am a man, nobody's gonna kill him. Nobody. But why would they try to make you to believe that they are a gender that they are not? Why is it so important that you ought not to know? Is the question. Can somebody figure out that answer? When you figure that answer, then you will know that there is something more at work than whatever they tell you or the physicality of this world. This is the most important question anybody should ask. Why would they go through and spend this kind of money to deceive you on every single thing, even with COVID-19? Well, looking at Rashida Jones right here, you can see that this is a P-shaped back, a straight back into the pelvis. There is no arch in this back. Let's blow this picture up. You can see this is straight. It's not shaped like a C in how a female's back is shaped, because the pelvis of a female is tilted forward. So because of that pelvic tilt forward, the back now is shaped like a C. Males have a straight back because the pelvis is straight. All right? So the back does not need to form an arch or anything. It just goes straight down into the pelvis. And this is exactly what Rashida Jones is exhibiting, because Rashida Jones is 100% male. And he twists this body, and with a man looking at a glance and seeing the lacy underwear, thinks it's a female, when it's actually a male. But why would they go through so much detail to make sure that you will not see on the onset that Rashida Jones is actually a man? Why is these people interested in deceiving you? Because they are children of Satan. That is what is going on here. And the children of Satan are albinos, anybody with straight hair. They have refused to be part of humanity. They see humanity, which is black people, as dung. They've done it for years and have never changed. They keep on making you believe in every other thing than the truth which you ought to see, which we are still going to reveal on this video on Legends of Roll Call. Let's continue on. This picture is not a very clear picture of Rashida Jones, because when albino supremacists are hiding information, they don't want you to see it for what it is, all right? And stupid black people have followed after and are going to the lake of fire. So if you look at this picture right here, you will notice that Rashida Jones cannot bend his arm, because once a woman puts her arm this way, it's going to twist out and still try to form the hourglass figure that a female arm does. But in Rashida Jones' case, this is not happening. And you can see, even though this is blurry, the cut separation of the tricep muscle right here from the shoulder muscles, because Rashida Jones is 100% male. And you can see from the way he sits in this chair, because it's all a deception. He's trying to promote a view of a picture at a glance, such that to the onlooker who's not paying attention, they'll just assume that you're looking at a woman. So in this position right here, he's trying to cover up the crotch, because you would tell that this is a man by the way he's sitting, and trying to accentuate the hips. But the hips is above the crotch, because the crotch is right here. It is above, because Rashida Jones is 100% male. So here is another picture of Rashida Jones, and I want you to see the deception, all right? So if he was standing normally without crossing his legs this way, you would be able to see the hip, that it is above the crotch very, very glaringly, all right? But in order to hide the fact that this is a man, they tell him to cross his legs, because when you cross his legs like this, if a man crosses his legs and stands like this and wears maybe some sort of tight clothing, it might give an onlooker at a glance the idea that it has an hourglass figure. Coupled with the fact that they've made him to wear a bra and implanted breast or hormonal breast, whatever the case might be, at a glance, you just by looking will say, okay, that's a female, and you keep on moving. But when you pay close attention, you find out that the crotch of Rashida Jones is right here, right? If a female crosses her legs right here, the hourglass figure is going to start the hips. The widest point is going to be below the crotch still, and right where you have the lace right here. But in Rashida Jones' case, this is not the case, because where the Q angle starts is right above the crotch, right here, the widest point. And from here it drops, because Rashida Jones is 100% male and not a woman in any way. And here's a picture of Rashida Jones trying to find the female waist, how a female would put her hands on her waist. But Rashida Jones cannot do that, because Rashida Jones is 100% male. And so the waist point of a male is where he finds his hands to rest those hands. And if you look at the shoulders right here, even though this picture has been photoshopped to great effect, but you can still see that there is a clear separation with the shoulders right here and the tricep muscles which continue down, because Rashida Jones is 100% male and not a man. And it's the same thing happening right here in this picture too. Rashida Jones is trying as hard as possible to find the female waist, but it does not exist, because the way that arms rest right there, you can sense that this is a man. When a man rests his hand on his waist, his whole body looks rest. If a woman does this and tries to rest those hands at the position of the male waistline, the body is going to be awkward, because naturally a woman's arms are shorter than a man. And every time we're talking about gender here, please do remember we're talking about only black people. Okay, so Rashida Jones is 100% male. Same thing with Rashida Jones again here. Those arms are not on the female waist, and Rashida Jones cannot do that, because Rashida Jones is 100% male. And here is Rashida Jones with her parents. The name of the mother of Rashida Jones is called Peggy Lipton. And the name of the father of Rashida Jones is Quincy Jones, the legendary black producer. So, as we have said, what kind of mentality would make parents to give birth to a child and take that child and castrate this child and feed the child hormones, and the child growing up finding out that he is a man but living as a woman, agrees and does not let anybody else outside know this, and this secret is kept. So that means the child, or the transgender child in this case, which is Rashida Jones, and two of her parents have agreed upon this secret. What kind of mentality would cause human beings to do this? You got to ask yourself serious questions at this point in time. So you start understanding the world that you live in, and start understanding that something is going on here that is beyond the physical. Otherwise, it will mean that you are a child of Satan. And just like Rashida Jones here, because whatsoever is born of evil is evil. So just like his parents here, which committed the greatest abomination that someone could ever do, they are all going to the lake of fire. And you who follow after them and consider these people to be who? The people that you trust, the people that you listen to, the people that tell you the truth, are going to the lake of fire with them. And here's Rashida Jones with Jesse Williams. Do you remember there was one time Jesse Williams went on stage in the BT Awards and made a comment about white supremacy? But did anybody check to see that Jesse Williams' mother is actually an albino? The scum of the earth albino female? Did anybody check that? Nobody asked those questions. Now, considering the fact that Jesse Williams told you that white supremacy is a problem, and let's play that speech before we continue.
For his continued efforts and steadfast commitment to furthering social change, we are proud to present such a deserving recipient with the 2016 BET Humanitarian Award presented by State Farm, Jesse Williams.
Peace. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, BET. Thank you, Nate Parker, Harry, and Debbie Allen for participating in that. Before we get into it, I just want to say, I brought my parents out tonight. I just want to thank them for being here, for teaching me to focus on comprehension over career, that they make sure I learn what the schools were afraid to teach us, and also to thank my amazing wife for changing my life. Now, this award, this is not for me. This is for the real organizers all over the country, the activists, the civil rights attorneys, the struggling parents, the families, the teachers, the students that are realizing that a system built to divide and impoverish and destroy us cannot stand if we do. All right? It's kind of basic mathematics. The more we learn about who we are and how we got here, the more we will mobilize. Now, this is also in particular for the black women, in particular, who have spent their lifetimes dedicated to nurturing everyone before themselves. We can and will do better for you. Now, what we've been doing is looking at the data, and we know that police somehow manage to de-escalate, disarm, and not kill white people every day. So what's going to happen is we are going to have equal rights and justice in our own country, or we will restructure their function and ours. Now, I got more, y'all. Yesterday would have been young Tamir Rice's 14th birthday. So I don't want to hear any more about how far we've come when paid public servants can pull a drive-by on a 12-year-old playing alone in a park in broad daylight, killing him on television and then going home to make a sandwich. Tell Rakia Boyd how it's so much better to live in 2012 than it is to live in 1612 or 1712. Tell that to Eric Garner. Tell that to Sandra Bland. Tell that to Dorian Hunt. Now the thing is, though, all of us in here getting money, that alone isn't going to stop this. All right? Now dedicating our lives to getting money just to give it right back for someone's brand on our body, when we spent centuries praying with brands on our bodies, and now we pray to get paid for brands on our bodies. There has been no war that we have not fought and died on the front lines of. There has been no job we haven't done. There's no tax they haven't levied against us, and we've paid all of them. But freedom is somehow always conditional here. You're free, they keep telling us. But she would have been alive if she hadn't acted so free. Now, freedom is always coming in the hereafter. But you know what, though? The hereafter is a hustle. We want it now. And let's get a couple things straight. Just a little side note. The burden of the brutalized is not to comfort the bystander. That's not our job. All right, stop with all that. If you have a critique for the resistance, for our resistance, then you better have an established record of critique of our oppression. If you have no interest in equal rights for black people, then do not make suggestions to those who do. Sit down. We've been floating this country on credit for centuries, yo. And we're done watching and waiting while this invention called whiteness uses and abuses us, burying black people out of sight and out of mind while extracting our culture, our dollars, our entertainment like oil, black gold, ghettoizing and demeaning our creations, then stealing them, gentrifying our genius, and then trying us on like costumes before discarding our bodies like rinds of strange fruit. The thing is that just because we're magic doesn't mean we're not real. Thank you.
So you heard that speech of Jesse Williams talking about the fact that whiteness has oppressed black people. Do you think that any of the statements that he said is actually true? If he did not tell you that Kadada Jones right here is a male. Because you have to understand this. White supremacy is playing you for a fool. They've been playing you for donkey years. Albino supremacists, all the so-called black leaders which you think are fighting white supremacy, are doing nothing but collecting a check from you. They are only using your emotions to make you feel like you are doing something. Because if they do not keep on white supremacy, they are not going to have the jobs that they have. So the people who make white supremacy what it is are all the black people in the world who make it possible. Because without blackness, whiteness will never ever live and succeed. So here's another supposed daughter of Quincy Jones. His name is Kenya Kinsky Jones. He's not very popular in the media, but is right there known as a son or daughter, as per se, of Quincy Jones. But what I want you to pay attention to is the collarbone right here. This is the collarbone of no female. Let's blow this picture up. You can see that? This is a man's collarbone. It's only a man's collarbone that sticks out this way right at the ending. And you can see it in 3D. So no matter as Kinsky Jones or Kenya Kinsky Jones can say that he is a female, he is not, because you can't change the skeletal structure. So looking at the hips, how about the hips? This is crotch. Do you guys see where the hips are? Because there's no hips. It's all above the crotch. So this stance here, I want you to pay attention to deception right now. Because you can see that the way Kinski Jones is kneeling down, he is spreading his legs. Because if he knelt down and put the knees together instead of spreading it this way, this deception of trying to form the female hip so that at a glance by an onlooker who doesn't pay attention would assume that you're looking at a woman when you're not. So, but why would these people go through so much lengths to lie to you, to deceive you, to pay attention to the smallest, minutest detail just to make sure that you do not see them for who they are? Why? Because albino supremacy is a deception. Let's continue on. Here is Kenya Kinski Jones with a very nice deception, but the shoulders never lie. And remember what we told you. The shoulders always show a clear separation between the shoulders and the tricep muscles for males, because that's the way the Creator made it. Everything in a man needs to be seen in 3D. Everything on a woman needs to be flowing and oval in shape. When we are comparing gender, we are only talking about black males and females, which are humanity, and anybody else isn't humanity. And those who follow after white supremacy, like 90% of the population do, in which 75% are black, are going to the lake of fire. All right, so as you can see right here, this is clear separation between the shoulder muscles, shows that who? Kenya Kinski Jones, a supposed daughter of Quincy Jones, is actually a man and not a woman. You can also see that the arms refuse to follow the contours of the body. And here's another picture of Kenya Kinski Jones. So no matter how Kenya Kinski Jones tries to cover up the fact, all right, the collarbones is in 3D. We see it from the top, we see it from the bottom, we see it from the side, 3D. And what is Kenya Kinski Jones trying to do here? Trying to place the hands on the female waist, but cannot find it, and rather finds the position for the male waist, because Kenya Kinski Jones, with all this makeup and trying to lie with you and the long hair to make it effeminate, is 100% male. And look at the shoulders. Clear separation between the shoulder muscles and the tricep muscles. Shoulder muscles, tricep muscles, because Kenya Kinski Jones is 100% male. And here is Kenya Kinski Jones with Quincy Jones, his dad and his mom. And take a look at that face. Is that the face of a young female? No, that is definitely the face of a young boy. The question still remains, what kind of madness or mentality would cause a man to do this to his own son? And the mother would agree. All right. Here is Kenya Kinski Jones again. And you can see right here, the 3D collarbone tells you that this is a man. And the arms refuse to follow the contours of the body. There is no way that you can hide the skeleton. No way. Genetics will always produce what it's supposed to produce. You can't change it. There's no mixing. That's why at the start of the video, Legends of Roll Call, we made you to understand that a man determines the genetics of his child. All right? All genetics comes from the parent, and it remains unchanged. So remember what we told you before, that if there was such a person as called Moses living in the Bible, his descendants would still be here today looking exactly like him. All right? So everybody you see in this world is just the same person being reproduced over and over and over and over again until the end of time. So everybody that was living, right, at the time of the flood and after the flood are still here. They are still here. But because you people are not interested in your history, you do not know, because you do not keep or do the commandments of the Creator, and are following white supremacy, albino people who are going straight to the lake of fire, except for the very few of them who will hear this message and heed to it at the end of Legends of Roll Call to understand what we're saying, because we're still not saying anything yet. So, you can't change your genetics. If you were born evil, you'll be evil and go to the lake of fire evil. There is no such thing as hearing the good spell of Satan and repenting of your sins. There's no such thing. If your father was evil, if your father was a homosexual, all right, and gave birth to you, and you continue on, all right, it means that you are going to be a homosexual too. Evil gives forth to evil. There's no such thing as repentance. All homosexuals are because their fathers were homosexuals. All witches and wizards are the way they are because their parents were. But if by chance you come into this world and you keep the commandments of the Creator, it means that you are a child of the Creator. That is the way it works. There is no such thing as repentance. Let's continue on. Here is Kenya Kinsky Jones trying to stand like a female, but as we've always told you, when a man stands and tries to pretend like he's female, the space in between, because the arm is not designed in the skeletal structure of a woman to follow the contours of the body, there's always going to be this space. It's going to be an inverted triangle. And even if they try to stick in the arm, it still won't fit. It would show that this is actually a man, because you can't change the skeleton. Oranges can't change to apples. And how did we start this story? We started with showing you Kadada Jones, who is the supposed only girlfriend that we know of the legend called Tupac Shakur, who was a homosexual. And we now show you that it's not just Kadada Jones who was a transgender, but we showed you other family members of Quincy Jones who are transgender. Why? Because everything around you that has to do with the arts is only meant to invoke demons, such that the children of Satan who were hidden before and practicing the abominations hiddenly can practice it openly, so that those who are children of the Creator and who go after the commandments will be able to identify them. Let's continue on with Legends of Roll Call in showing you that hip-hop has nothing good for you, but is only a tool of white supremacy to control the minds of black people, to control the minds of those black people who are children of Satan, by making them to practice abominations at will, thinking that they are doing okay. Because in today's world, you find out that almost all the population has a tattoo. Very hard before you find someone without a tattoo. Very hard before you find a black male, all right, who does not have a tattoo and wears earrings and wears jewelry. Very hard for you to find any black male or any black woman without piercings in her body in any way, shape, or form. I'm not even talking about albinos, because you're gonna find out why we keep avoiding talking about them. We're specifically just talking about black people at this point. So hip hop was designed to make sure that the children of Satan in black people come out from their closet, if they were practicing it hiddenly, practice it openly, because we are at the end of time. And someone's gonna ask how long we got. Until you go after the truth, then will you find out. Because we're not gonna tell you on this video. Next on agenda check, because we're still trying to show you that everything about hip-hop is only meant to promote abominations, especially homosexuality, which is a rite of passage for everybody who is a hip-hop artist, who's on the top of the A-list of hip-hop artists. For you to get that label contract, which is selling your soul, which is the actual meaning of selling your soul, which they try to hide from you, that it is a label contract. Because everybody who's an artist, everybody who works in the music or film industry has sold your soul. They're not selling it to the devil. They are selling it to the contract labels which they come under, which makes sure that they have to check with them on anything they do. So even before a hip-hop artist comes out in public and curses you out, okay, it has to be checked. If it's not according to the standard of white supremacy, the scum of the earth, albinos, anybody with straight hair, supremacy, which run the world, right? Then they tell you that you can't do that. That is the meaning of selling your soul, which they hide, because they don't want you to know that's what's going on. So they say they sell your soul to the devil, which a lot of people will never see the devil. But some folks see the devil, but they never tell you when they see him. But on the shape of our world, as we have promised, you're going to see what Satan looks like literally. What he's going to look like when you guys see him. So remember that. Only on the shape of our world that you're going to see everything. Every secret under the sun. There is nothing under the sun that the elites have done and hidden that we do not know. Even the plans that they are having, that they are planning ahead of time from today onwards, even what's gonna happen in the next couple of months, weeks, years down the road, there is nothing that we do not know that they are going to do. And if you stay locked on this channel and you stay locked on the truth, you will know ahead of time before it happens. So let's continue on here, because we're looking at Gene Aiko. Gene Aiko was made popular by the rapper known as Big Sean, who rapped about this song and saying, "I don't F with you," right? That song was supposedly made about Gene Aiko, but they never told you that Gene Aiko was 100% man and not a female in any way, shape, or form. So all you guys who've been listening to Gene Aiko's music and you love the music, what kind of energy do you think you're getting? Because if you're making a song and you're a homosexual, will that song honestly be about the opposite sex? I want you to think about it for a second. Because if everybody in hip-hop and everybody who's an artist making music is telling you that they're writing songs about the opposite sex, but they are homosexuals, what do you think the song is really about? All right, let's continue with Gene Aiko. So the first thing that you have to notice about Gene Aiko is that the fact that this man, because he's not a woman, has the collarbone of a man. The collarbones of a female, as we have explained, you'll never be able to see it in 3D. But that of a man, you see it from the top, you see it from the bottom, and you see the knob. Now with Orientals, people who are of Asian descent, because as we've explained, and you're going to find out today, everybody who looks Oriental is from Asia. So you find out that there are a lot of people who claim to be Hispanics, but they look Asian. They are actually from Asia because they were immigrated in. a lot of people who stay in the casinos, who are given the reservations in the United States, and they pay them some sort of repatriation, all right, and they look Asian, are all from Asia, right? All from Asia. They are not native to those countries. And we're going to tell you how they got here when we get to that part of the video. But for now, stay tuned and keep watching, because all legends, right, are going to be removed on this video. When you get to the shape of our world, we continue removing everything else. But the major legends, which white supremacy, albinos, anybody with straight hair supremacy, the scum of the earth used to run the minds of black people, ends here on Legends of Roll Call. It ends right here. For them to be revealed and exposed for being the scum of the earth for which they really are. And what they have changed, and how they've changed the Bible to make us not to see who they were really. All right, continuing on with Gene Aiko right here, you can see that Gene Aiko, first of all, let's just talk about the deception in this picture. Now, you can see that Gene Aiko right here, as he is standing, cocks his hips to one side. Because if he were to stand straight without any posture like he's trying to show you guys here, you would definitely see that this is a man. But this is the attention to detail which is paid to deceive an onlooker on first glance who doesn't care about his surroundings or what is going on in his world, and he just believes what he's told and he does accordingly, because that kind of person is going to the lake of fire. Because ignorance means that you do not know anything. So ignorance is not an excuse. If you do not know, it's not an excuse. When you get to an exam hall, all right, and you plead ignorance that you did not read and study what you were supposed to study, are you going to pass that exam? It's a failure. There is no ignorance. If you go into a law court and you're tried for a crime, are you going to feign ignorance and say, I did not know? But this is the stupidity of so many people, that they wallow in ignorance. They have an opportunity to know the truth, but they refuse it. And then they end up in the lake of fire and ask, how did I get here? Because that is the many questions that so many people are going to ask when they wake up there. And like we've told you, the lake of fire is very real. The volcanoes you see, which exploding and exploding consistently now, is the lake of fire. And when you get to the shape of a world, we'll show you its actual location of where it's going to be. All right, so continuing on with Gene Aiko right here, the attention to detail. Because if he did not just cock his hips to the side, a lot of people looking would see, okay, that is a man. So he cocked his hips. Then at the same time, they try to make you believe that this is a female form. Let me show you deception. Photoshop 1, plain background. See that? Every time Photoshop has to occur, it has to have two kinds of background. It has to have either a plain background or a blurry background. Because remember, the background, right, is what helps Photoshop to assimilate or make the foreground look any kind of way. So once you see a picture on a plain background like this, you should know Photoshop is involved with any of the celebrities involved. When you look at that picture, you have to pay careful attention, because the representation of the person in the photo is not what is real in real life. So this is a deception. But regardless, let's look at the skeletal structure of Gene Aiko. As you can see right here, Gene Aiko's arms refuses to follow the contours of the body like a female should. Because if a female were to stand like this arm would stick into her abdomen and follow the same contours of this body that you see here, because she's female. But in Gene Aiko's case, he refuses to do that because Gene Aiko is 100% male. So here's another picture of Gene Aiko. Can you guys see the Photoshop now? All of a sudden, the other one was very clear. The last picture we just showed you. This one is a bit blurry. Why is this one a bit blurry? Because the other one had an artificial background, right? And this one has a natural background in water. Okay? So they have to make it blurry to be able to cut and paste and do whatever they want in this picture for you guys to see and think that you're looking at a female. But when you pay attention to the skeletal structure and you start looking with your mind, all right, you will actually see that Jean Aiko has no hips, has no Q angle of a female. And this is the crotch right here, and where the widest point of the hip ends is above the crotch. Because Jean Aiko is 100% male and not a female. So why would these people go through such lengths to Photoshop and hide the truth? Because if Jean Aiko said, I am a transgender, what's going to happen to him? Nothing. So here's another picture of Jean Aiko. I'm trying to show you how deception works by paying attention to the details. Even though we know it's gonna be difficult for anybody to pay attention to the details because nobody has that kind of mind power except they're a high priest. And I am not a high priest. I've just been taught, and I'm trying to follow along as I have been taught to see these deceptions. So as you can see right here off the bat, what do you notice about the deception? A plain background, right? Background here, plain background over here, plain background over here, not natural. Plain and not natural. Because these are not natural backgrounds. Natural backgrounds talk about backgrounds when you're outside in nature. As the creator made the world, all right? You see the clouds, you see the waters, you see the greenery around you, right? The greenery for now, at least that's what you guys understand. So this is what is happening right here. Plain background. But nevertheless, let's show you another deception that's working right here. Because this man has implants on his breast and is fed hormones, they open the shirt up. So an onlooker, immediately you look, you see breast, you say, oh, that is a female. And you just keep on walking, right? But it's a deception. Because that is the idea that they want you to get by just looking at a glance. It's only the high priest can now look at the details, because the high priest has the mind of a creator to look at the details and not be drawn in by everything else that everybody's looking at. And I am not a high priest. I have to keep repeating this throughout the whole entire video so you guys get it. I am just saying as I have been told to. Okay? So what you're finding right here is that when you pay attention to the details now, you find out that if a woman is to sit in this manner and place her hands in this manner, these arms would bend to form an hourglass figure and bend out from the elbows. It's not going to be straight all the way down here because a woman can never keep her arms straight. So this is where the detail point comes in. And when you now look at every other thing, you will notice that this is a man's tummy. But for the advanced looker, for people who are not advanced, they are not going to see this. When you pay attention now to the hips, you will find out that the hips are above the crotch because the crotch is right here and the hip is up above here because Jean Aiko is 100% male and not a female. Now, the reason why Orientals, let me just explain something about Orientals, right? Why it seems that Orientals are able to pull off the fact that they might look feminine when they are not. Orientals in their history, before they became albino during the time of the Ottoman Empire, which we're going to talk about later, were not always the people who ate a lot of fish and a lot of the kind of foods that they eat today, right? So the consistent fish diet makes your bones to be smaller. So if you notice, I don't know if you guys ever study, because everything that you read in the Bible, all right, is consistently true for the truth that the Creator spoke. After the flood, because the vegetation of the world was destroyed, the Creator said to man specifically, you can eat of every animal in this world. He did not mention fish. And let's show you that. So if you read the portion of the scripture that we are going to read to you to show that the Creator specifically told, all right, man to eat animals. He did not tell them to eat fish. Not that you can't eat fish, but if you're specifically on a fish diet, you're doing yourself more harm than good. And we're going to explain that fully in details, I hope, in the shape of our world, okay? If you don't get that explanation in the shape of a world, you can send us an email when you get the DVD and tell us, we forgot to mention this part, all right? And then we will explain it to you maybe via email, all right? So the people who eat mainly fish, which Orientals do because of their proximity to the sea, at this point in time, because it was not always the case, you are going to be smaller, your bones are going to shrink. So the reason for the feebility of Orientals is because of having mainly a fish diet. So listen to me right now. Let's read now from Genesis chapter number 9. We're reading in the Greek Septuagint Bible. If you read this in any other Bible, you're not going to see this particular verse the way it is said right here. So reading in Genesis chapter number 9 verse 3 in the Greek Septuagint, it says, and every reptile which is living shall be to you for food. I have given all things to you as the green herbs. Did you read that? He said reptile. Now the word reptile there, what does it mean? It does not just mean a reptile as maybe a crocodile, a snake, right? Or an alligator, or maybe a frog, or maybe a toad. It's talking about the fact of all animals which crawl on land. Did you hear that? All animals that crawl on land, because the reptiles, right? They crawl both on land and in water. He's talking about the fact that you should eat meat. So we had explained on a video earlier before this particular video, in which we talked about that if someone is trying to be a vegetarian, that they are going to die. Because remember, we read this portion already, but we did not read it in the Greek Septuagint. But we're reading it now correctly for you to see why Asians, especially Orientals, the people with the slant eye look, all right, who happen to be all Japanese. Every Oriental in this world who is an albino, all right, has straight hair, is Japanese. It is from Japan that they spread into all the other Asian countries like China, Cambodia, Malaysia, Mongolia, and all the countries around which have that slant eye look. And we'll explain further when we get to the shape of our world, but this is not the video for it. So the reason why Asians are skinny and small like Jean Aiko and could pass off as female, because normally a woman has a smaller bone structure than a man, all right, is because of having a consistent fish diet, mostly in their meals. So if you're an Asian right now, an Oriental, all right, and you've heard that, you have to make a consistent plan to start eating meat. So that is the reason why a lot of the Asian society right now is getting older, weaker, and infertile. They have ate fish for way too long, overeating meat. And we'll tell you what kind of meat you ought to eat on the Shape of a World. So here is Gene Aiko right here with his mother. And as usual, Gene Aiko is trying to fake that he's actually a female, but it's not, because as you can see right here from the shoulders, there's a clear separation between the shoulder muscles and the tricep muscles, which all males exhibit because Gene Aiko is 100% male. But Gene Aiko is trying to place those arms on the female waist, but it does not exist. So that's why it looks so awkward, because Gene Aiko is 100% male. But the question is, what kind of parents would take his own son to a doctor? And what kind of doctor? This is what I'm trying to show you guys of how evil the medical industry, the medical institution is, before we even get to that part of how they've been killing people successfully up till now. But what kind of parents would take his own son to a doctor to castrate that son and feed him hormones? And the son knows, because Gene Aiko knows, that he was born male living as a female, and he won't say anything about it. What is going on here, people? Until you know the people in the picture, you will never know what the picture is about. And here is Big Sean with Gene Aiko. He made a whole song which he told us was about Gene Aiko, was saying, I don't F with you. But why did Big Sean not tell us that Gene Aiko is a man? So do you guys see what I've been trying to tell you all along right here? That hip hop was designed to promote abominations, and that everybody who is in hip hop, a rap artist, is a homosexual, and that if a rap artist is a homosexual, the song or the rap he's making, all right, what is the song really about? Because most of the songs that we hear, all right, talk about love between a man and a woman. But if the person who's writing the song, okay, is a homosexual, what will the song be about? Is it going to be in truth about a man and a woman? And here's a clear example of what we've been trying to show you. Gene Aiko is a man, homosexual, right? And Big Sean is a man. And he wrote a song about Gene Aiko, which he told us was female. But we've come to find out that the song was really about a man. Do you see what I'm saying now? And this is how that energy of demons, because the beat is going to be constructed based on a homosexual way of thinking. So it's transferring demonic energy into your mind. For the children of Satan who have been in the closet, and before long they start acting like homosexuals and being openly homosexual. That is what is going on. This was the design of hip hop. Just in case you doubt that it wasn't Big Sean, we want to show you clearly that it's Big Sean by this picture. A homosexual with Gene Aiko, a man. And here is Nipsey Hussle with Gene Aiko. Interesting. Nipsey Hussle, who's been made into a current legend. So is Nipsey Hussle really dead? No, he's not. You're going to find out everything that Nipsey Hussle did, or what he's up to, and what all this creation of legends is all about when you get to the Shape of a World. But this is not the video for it. The video that we're making right now is for those who are going to the lake of fire, who refuse to go after the truth. And they're going to know glaringly now where they are heading. So this is Nipsey Hussle with Gene Aiko, all cozying up. And he never told you that Gene Aiko was a man. What kind of music do you think Nipsey Hussle was making? All right, let's continue on. And here is Nipsey Hussle's Diddy, right? His favorite buddy in Snoop Dogg with Gene Aiko. All cozy up. But we've already shown you that everybody in hip hop is a homosexual. Even Nipsey Hussle's Diddy. Best friend and buddy, right? Because homosexuality is a rite of passage for being a star, for being the one who controls a lot of money and owns a lot of properties, for being worshipped by the dumb idiots who make Snoop Dogg and everything about Snoop Dogg to be something that they have to crave. A legend, a living legend, right? This is what it is about. The worship of the Trinity, homosexuality, and hip hop was created to propagate that. And Snoop Dogg never told you one day that Jane Aiko is 100% male. Did he tell you that? And here is Jane Aiko with the group called Ray Sherman. All right? Now, obviously, Ray Sherman is much younger than Snoop Dogg and should be at least able to tell you the truth. Right? They have probably been in Diddy with Snoop Dogg, right? But as we have said, homosexuality is a rite of passage to having a label contract, to selling your soul to be controlled by the labels, by the executives, by the executive producers who all work for albino supremacy. And here is Jane Aiko with Ebro in the morning, on a radio station which a lot of people love listening to, right? Okay? But Ebro, as usual, how did he get that job? Because let me make you understand something. In every single company in this world, the people at the top who run the company, doesn't matter what names it appears in, whether it be Walmart, whether it be Target, whether it be Capital One, whether it be any sports franchise, whether it be the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, all right? They are all homosexuals. It's a rite of passage because a deception is at work. You cannot allow great people to rise up in ranks or people you do not know, otherwise they are going to crash the system. Do you understand that? Because Ebro should have told you right here that Jane Aiko is a man. But look at how cozy and comfortable he is squishing on a man like this. That means every message that comes out of Ebro's mouth is demonic energy. Because the more abominations you practice, the more demons you have, the more power of Satan you got. The question we now have to ask is this. We've explained it earlier. Why do black people get involved in all this wickedness? Because as black people naturally born in this world, they are not born with their genetics out of natural order, because albinos, anybody with straight hair, are born of inbreeding. So whenever natural order, all right, is broken, what you now have is the power of Satan and demons. So a black person who gave birth to his son or child or daughter, right, has not done any inbreeding because the child comes out black, right? So if this child wants to have the power of Satan, what do you think this child has to do? He has to what? Commit abomination. He has to get involved with what? White people, anybody with straight hair who are genetically built and designed to be filled with demons. Because Satan promotes his people. So in order for black people to get power, they have to attract themselves to what? The people of Satan, who are albinos, anybody with straight hair. And someone's gonna say, huh? Take this guy off the YouTube. What is he saying? Just relax. We're still traveling. We're gonna arrive at the destination and you're gonna see. So that is why black people, for those who seek power, have to cozy up to albinos, anybody with straight hair. So even in a natural sense, let's just talk about it naturally right here so you guys see what's going on. Even the black public who doesn't really know what is going on, when he or she marries and procreates with an albino, what does that mean? Because we've been made to believe that albinism is the standard of humanity. Albinos are the one progressing in life. So because he wants also a little bit of that progress, he has to now start being more friendly with albinos to get to the progress, because he's found out that every time he's tried to make it on his own as a black person, albinism, who hate black people, even the ones that they are married to, and we're going to show you that later on, have been trampling upon him and not allowing him to progress. So what does he do as they teach you? Right? If you don't succeed on your own, then go with everybody else. If you don't succeed, right? You can't succeed on your own. Join what everybody else is doing. So that is why black people get attracted to albinos to progress in life. Satan's children. If you want to succeed the way as success is defined in this world as a black person, at the end of the day, you gotta be the white person. An albino, anybody with straight hair. Does that make sense now? Let's continue on. Next up on a gender check, just to continue to show you that hip hop is nothing but homosexuality. Absolutely nothing but homosexuality, and promoting all the abominations which the Creator told us not to practice, because all who do such are going to the lake of fire. The picture on the screen is the picture of a lady called Truly Young. Truly Young is the supposed daughter of Dr. Dre, and the so-called beloved albino, scum of the earth woman called Nicole Young, which he claims to be his childhood sweetheart and has been with her for a long time. And recently we heard last year that they were going through a divorce. But they never told us that in that divorce that they had transgendered a son of theirs to become a girl or woman and present him to us as a female. They never told you this. And meanwhile, Nicole Young is not the supposed, because that's just a story they tell you, that Nicole Young is the supposed old-time, best-time, sweet, loving wife of Andre Young, which his real name is Andre Young in Dr. Dre. This is not true. For Dr. Dre to get money, to have that power, right, that he has, even though he is a homosexual, all right, Dr. Dre had to marry Nicole Young. Because like I've always explained, the reason why black people get attracted to albinos is not because albino women, the scum of the earth women, are pretty or they have anything going on, because as we've shown you, everything about the genetics of an albino woman is the ugliest in the world. There's nothing attractive about that. The only reason why black people get attracted to albino women is because of prestige and because they have been oppressed for so long, and instead, all right, of going the opposite direction and having nothing to do with albino supremacy, they rather cohabit with the children of Satan in albinos, and especially albino females. So the story of Dr. Dre in hip hop music, because he wouldn't be able to get that contract and all the money he supposedly says he's gotten by Dre Beats without what? Without albino supremacy. So this is the reason why albino supremacy has been succeeding for so long, because black people help support and keep it rolling. Because when a black person has come to understand that he needs Satan, right? And that the children of Satan who run the world are albinos, anybody with straight hair, what is he gonna do? He is going to attach himself to Satan to succeed. That is what is going on. But regardless, what we're trying to show you right here is that Truly Young is 100% man and not a female in any way, shape, or form. Now, even though this picture of him has been photoshopped, and remember what we told you about Photoshop, right? Plain background. If it's a natural background, the picture is going to be so blurry because the background is a natural environment. All right, so you have to make it blurry because if you tweak something here and there, someone's gonna notice that you tweak something. But if it's an artificially created background, you can afford as much as possible to play around with the pictures because the background is not natural. The creator did not make that background. Does that make sense now? Are you starting to see how artificial intelligence gets formed? With artificial intelligence, you have a whole level of playing field in which you can deceive people, but with natural intelligence, it can't really work. All right. So looking at Truly Young, even though with this picture blurry, we can see that Truly Young is trying as much as possible to put his hands on the female waist, but it does not exist because Truly Young is 100% male. Trying to place that hand like a woman would on the female waist, which is always directly just below the rib cage. But here in Truly Young's case, the rib cage is too long and too big because it's a male rib cage. So he can't do it. And also you can see right here, there's a separation between the shoulder muscles. Even with this picture being in great Photoshop, you can see the shoulder muscles are separated and then the tricep muscles. Over here too, you can see shoulder muscles right here ends, and then the triceps or bicep muscle starts there. You see that? It ends right here. That's where the shoulder ends because Truly Young is 100% male. And take a look at the back. Straight back into the pelvis because Truly Young is male. Let's continue on. So here is another picture of Truly Young, and as usual, this picture has been photoshopped. How do you know it's photoshopped? Because the background is not natural. All right? Can you see that? But even then with this Photoshop to lie to you, because I keep asking this question, why would these people pay so much attention to detail just to deceive you about something? They know that what they are doing is wrong, but they continue. Because for you to have any power and success in this world, as all those who want to be known, who want to be loved of men, right? You have to do the abominations, which include homosexuality. That is the reason why this deception works. That's the reason why they have to lie to you, because what they are doing is evil and they don't want you to know it's evil. And they know that if they show you plainly what they are doing that is evil, right? You are going to do what? You are going to go away from doing the evil. You're not gonna like them. But this deception has to continue to make sure that the children of Satan who are hiding can come out openly, because they can transmit these demons across to those ones and make sure that they act in their normal nature, the nature of satanic children, which 90% of the population is made of. But even then, when we look at Truly Young's collarbone, it's in 3D. Even with the Photoshop, we can see it from the front, you see it from the front, you see it from the top, you see it from the side. You can see the small knob right there around that collarbone, because Truly Young is 100% what? Male. So this is the picture of Dr. Dre with Nicole Young, his supposed beloved childhood sweetheart, which they want us to believe that Nicole Young is, but it is not true. Dr. Dre married this woman for white supremacy gain, for albino, anybody with straight hair supremacy gain. The scum of the earth women, children of Satan in albino women. That is what he did. He himself is a Satanist. But in order to progress, to get that traction, he had to marry what? An albino woman. So Dr. Dre has had other relationships with other females and has other children who are older than Truly Young right here. So that means that this albino scum of the earth woman in Nicole Young cannot be his childhood sweetheart if he's had other children who are older than truly young, because it's a made-up story to cover up for white supremacy. But the question we need to ask again is this: what kind of mentality would make a father and a mother to come into agreement to take their own child and to castrate that child and make it live in a gender that's not the gender that the child was born in? What is going on in our world? You people are not interested. We've been trying to beg you to find out, but you do not want to. And look at the state of the world that we're in now. Let's continue. Next up on the Legends of Roll Call is to show you how abominable hip-hop culture is. Chris Brown has a supposed daughter. We're not going to display the pictures of the daughter because YouTube all of a sudden, all right, they have never caught up to Chris Brown and asked him, why did you transgender your own son to be a little girl? They never asked him that. But because we are presenting the picture to you, we are doing something wrong. This is how twisted and abominable white supremacy is. But here is a message I got for all of them on YouTube. The more you try to prevent the truth from happening, the more it's going to come out. So if that's what you want to do on this video, I can guarantee you that it's not going to be this video that you're going to find on YouTube. It's going to be spread on every single format. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. The more you try to prevent the truth from coming out, the more it's going to come out. If anybody's on YouTube, I want you to remember these words so that you know that we did tell you what's going to happen exactly. So, continuing on right now, Chris Brown transgendered whom he says is a daughter in royalty. Royalty is what is a little boy. What would make these people do this kind of thing? Because I'm trying to make you guys see that evil produces evil. People do not repent. They cannot change their ways because Chris Brown here transgendered his own son and called him a little girl in royalty. What do you think the kind of songs that Chris Brown has been making already? Chris Brown makes garbage, terrible songs. Songs that are so much full of immorality, so terrible to listen to. But what are the songs really about? Are they really about female love, as he claims, or is it about what they call homosexuality? So this is royalty, Chris Brown's supposed daughter. It's a boy. We don't need to show you much. It's a straight back all the way into the pelvis because the skeleton of a child is still the same skeleton when the child grows up. Nothing more. Let's continue with Legends of Roll Call. Up on the picture right now is California Dream. California Dream is the Game's and Tiffany Cambridge's supposed daughter. But this child is not a daughter in any way, but is a boy transgender. You've probably heard of Tiffany Cambridge talk so much on her reality show about how she's a teacher and everything. So I want you to ask yourself a question. If Tiffany Cambridge, the supposed baby mother of Baby Game, is a teacher and comes to your school and teaches you, what do you think that teacher is transferring as energy to your children? Because if someone can have this kind of mentality, both of them in the Game and Tiffany Cambridge, what do you think they are doing to you? Because as you can see right here, as we've shown you, there's clear separation between the shoulder muscles of California Dream, the Game's supposed daughter, who's not a daughter, but a boy. And you can see the separation of the shoulder muscles from the tricep muscles. And you can see that these arms do not follow the contours of the body. They are straight arms like the arms of a male. Because California Dream, the game's supposed daughter is actually a boy, a man. And here's the supposed mother in Tiffany Cambridge with California Dream over here and another son of theirs. But why would they choose to just transgender one and not the other? Well, when we get to the shape of a world, every mystery and every hidden fact will be revealed to you. Let's continue. And here is the game with Tiffany Cambridge. So are you guys getting to see the picture right now? That hip hop has nothing but promoting abominations to you and homosexuality? And that is why you have so many homosexuals? All right. And we're up with the most popular kid on the block, which happens to be Blue Ivy Carter. We already know that Beyonce is male, right? And by now, we had waited for a long time for this child to grow up because we didn't just want to say it at once. But Blue Ivy Carter, the supposed daughter of Jay-Z, is actually male. Now, the bigger question which we have arrived at this point is, why would Jay-Z choose to name his supposed daughter, who's actually a male, Blue Ivy? What's going on here? Well, when we get to the shape of our world, all secrets will be revealed. All the mystery that's been hidden right from ancient times, from the day that the world was created, that the day that the Creator made, that was hid from you, is now revealed only to those who are worthy of the truth. Because we do not cast our pearls and our good things to pigs and swine, for those who do not care about the truth and just love listening. Because we all want them to have a speedy road to the lake of fire. Let's continue on with Legends of Roll Call.
For Adam Gibson, today is a day you'll never forget.
There's someone in my house with my family, and it's not me.
There's been a 6-day violation. A human was cloned. That human was you.
Now, a corporation illegally cloning humans must eliminate their mistake.
They're trying to kill me because there are 2 Adam Gibsons, and that's proof that humans are being cloned.
Have they been here? Who?
Hello, Adam. Would you like a beer?
Not now, Cupcake. I lost my wife, my daughter, my whole damn life tonight.
How much does Gibson know?
We'll kill anyone who sees the 2 of them together.
Daddy?
They'll do anything to destroy the evidence. Your family could get killed in the process.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Take my life back.
Adam Gibson. Wish I could say the one and only.
Who are you people?
The 6th day.
You picked the wrong guy to make 2 of.